today for our wealth strategy. So we're going to review what we went through in the last session, and it's about the good debt and bad debt. So this is part 2. What is good debt? I mean, good. And before we start on that, you know, we were growing up always say, stay out of debt. You know, if you're in trouble financially, get out of debt. But sometimes debt is not the problem. You know, it's the type of debt that can be the problem. All right. So when you're talking about good debt, what is this? Is when you get into debt in order to finance assets that will pay for the debt, you know, and hopefully will liberate cash flow for you. Okay. Bad debt is when you get into debt in order to go into consumption. So you consumer debt. If you want to go on a trip and you don't have money, you get into debt. You put it on your credit card. You borrow from the bank. You know, this type of debt, that's terrible. That's really when things start to go the wrong way. Okay. So you need to understand that the concept and the difference between good debt and bad debt. All right. So that's very, very important. So let's just quickly review how debt is created. You know, you remember this? Okay, here we go. So let's say we have, you want to have debt, and just one step back, just think, you know, like now we are going through this COVID thing, and companies are closing down, and we're going on furlough. Employees are going on furlough, and so on and so forth. And you have government saying, "Don't worry, we'll take care of the salaries. We'll pay the salaries. You close down your business, we pay the salaries." You know, this is how. I mean, it's not by magic, or almost. It's almost like magic, and basically they're going to print money. It's not physical money, but it's virtual money. So they have their bank account where they say, instead of having, let's say we have 1 million in the bank account, let's just put a few more zeros and let's round that up to 1 billion or 10 billion or whatever. You know, this is basically what is done. Now, how is that done? Based on what? So it's based on, well, that's done at the treasury level. And the treasury will then have a bond or some other financial instrument. Let's just say it's a bond to the central bank. So the central bank lends to the big banks, which in turn lend to the rich. Now, by rich, we mean anyone that can get into debt. All right. So we're talking about, if you want to have consumer debt, well, you will borrow from the bank and you go spend it, you know, on holiday, on a car, in some shoes or something like that. So that's the one type of debt. But now the big debt, the big things, the good things, is the good debt is when you use it to make investments. All right. So you're gonna buy assets, you're gonna buy companies, you're gonna buy real estate, you're gonna do that kind of stuff. Okay. So, and that's how it will go from the borrowers, or let's call them the rich, into the economy. It will flow into the economy. Now, once it gets into the economy, it's got things going and so on and so forth. And then you have let's say the regular people that will pay taxes. All right. And this is how part of this debt is going to be paid, at least the interest. All right. So that's how it is financed. All right. You understand this? You understand this, the circuit, the way it is done. So money is injected into the economy through a process called quantitative easing. All right. So you QE. So you can just go and Google it. You know, quantitative easing, QE. You can have this great explanations and so on. So that's what the aim of that is, to stimulate consumption, to stimulate the investment. All right. Now, when we talk about good debt and bad debt, okay, we really need to be careful with what we call the bad debt. What is that? Well, we're talking about whatever you borrow money for and acquire that doesn't produce an income. Okay, so it's just a consumption. So you borrow in order to consume. You want to go on a holiday, you want to buy a second car or a first car, you want to buy some I don't know, a stereo, you want to buy some furniture, you want to buy, you know, whatever, you want to go out to the restaurants, all these kinds of things. When you get into debt in order to finance your lifestyle that way, that's really bad debt. Okay, really bad. This can get you into a lot of trouble, all right? So stay away from this bad debt. Now, what do we mean by good debt? So good debt is the type of debt that when you borrow money and you make an investment, so that's the difference, you don't spend, you don't consume, you invest. And you will invest in an asset that will be producing income, hopefully, and with that income, it will pay the debt, pay the interest, and also the capital. Okay, so you got to start reimbursing your debt. Sometimes you just keep it going, you know, just pay the interest and keep the debt there. You know, you can get, and once you become really proficient at this, I mean, you can get more and more into debt. Okay, because you borrow more, because debt is one way to get free cash, tax-free cash. Let's say you buy a property and you put in, I don't know, 30% of your own money and 70% from the bank. Okay, so you buy a property that is 1 million euros, let's say. You put in 300,000 and you go to the bank and borrow 700. Now, after some time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, the property appreciates in value. So the value increase. And once it's, let's say it goes from 1 million to 1.2 million. So what are you going to do? You're going to go to the bank and say, look, my property now is worth more, so I would like to borrow more. So you borrow more. And that money that comes is a loan, but it's tax-free. Okay? And as long as the property is generating cash flow, and the cash flow is enough to finance the debt, you're in the clear. That is good debt, because it is paying for itself and you're getting money out, cash-free, tax-free, sorry, getting cash tax-free. All right, you understand how this works? Okay, this is the type of good debt. So you can get into real estate, you can buy companies, you can buy cryptos, you can buy all these kind of assets that will produce income. So the important thing with this is for you to understand that you need to increase your financial literacy, your financial intelligence. All right, so that's really important that you do. You need to learn how to operate with debt. All right, so there are many ways to do it. One of the ways to do it is, of course, with the Access Club, which is, you can see, and so that is what we teach, some of the things that we teach. All right, so just increase your financial intelligence and start working on that aspect. All right, good. So that's what I wanted to share with you.